All right, everybody. Welcome to our Creature from the Black Lagoon live stream. It's Mr. Dan here, as always. I have a couple special guests with me, one of whom is returning. And we have Rachel from the Black Lagoon, whose channel I just discovered a couple weeks ago, and I've absolutely consumed her content. Are you actually in your creature corner right now?
I am in the creature corner.
That is awesome. You folks, I'm going to say it a couple times. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put her channel link
Thank you.
at the bottom of the screen. But you absolutely have to check out her content for sure. Anthony Chobot, how are you? Glad you can join us. Thank you. And of course, we're also joined by the Horror Cat Dad. How's it going?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, great. Yep. And when was that? Like maybe a year ago, we ranked the Jada figures that we had in our collection or something.
It feels like almost right. It's been a long time coming that we do something else. I know we had talked about it before, so
yeah.
And I mean, what better way? I mean, with
sure.
The creature,
We've got some upcoming film news. We know the bare bones, but we're going to get to that. And then I'm going to throw you guys a couple curveballs because some other film, sort of Universal Monster related film news came out the other day. And again, we don't really know a whole lot, but it'll be fun to just have some conjecture about things. And backstage, we were talking about the films, and it's mostly the third one and how some of it works and some of it doesn't. So we're going to get into that a little bit. But let's just start by what motivated both of you to start a channel, and when did you first sort of fall in love with, in particular, the Creature from the Black Lagoon? Rachel, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I started sharing my creature collection a year ago over on TikTok. It kind of I don't really know what initiated it. I think seeing other people share their collections, I loved watching the content of just why people collect certain things, the history behind different collectibles. I already always loved vintage and antiques and stuff. And so it kind of inspired me that I should be sharing my collection, and I love talking about it. And anyone in my life has to hear about it enough as it is. So maybe I could talk about it online a little bit and not have to talk about it so much in person. But yeah, and it kind of took off a lot more than I thought it would. And then when TikTok started to, get close to be going away, it made me think I didn't want to end it. And so I thought maybe I should start a YouTube channel. And I had another friend who is on YouTube who really kind of pushed me to make that jump over to YouTube. And I really love it. I kind of prefer YouTube now because I feel like you get the time to really talk about things and do a deep dive into the history and stuff I'm really interested in. As far as how long I've been a fan of the creature, well, I started watching horror movies when I was a little kid. So it goes a long ways back, but I was a scaredy cat as a little kid, and I was terrified of Dracula for whatever reason, but I had a grandmother who loved monsters. She loved King Kong, she liked Godzilla, that sort of thing. And I think it kind of got into my brain that, well, the monsters aren't bad. And I kind of started to like the creature. I rediscovered it as a teenager, and that's when I really fell in love with just the cinematography of the film, the Gilman, the special effects, just everything. And from there, I started collecting in about 10 years, a little over 10 years ago now, and it's just exploded.
It sure has. You've got some really cool stuff. And I like the one comment you made in the one video about how there's modern day collectibles, but then there's something special about some of the vintage ones, the packaging, the look, even that when I took the Muscle Machines truck out of the package, I got to admire it. And even the little cardboard logo, of course, I put that aside and saved it. Why? I don't know, but I can't bear to throw it away.
I get that.
There's something special about that kind of packaging, but no, your videos are fantastic. I really love all the in-depth information.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no. So everyone really needs to check out Rachel's channel. And we do have Corey from Wilkie's Music and More. Thanks for joining us. And Larry, how about you?
Well, basically, it's kind of similar. I started my channel because originally I would talk everybody's ear off about stuff, movies, or just collectibles and stuff like that. I mean, then my wife was like, why don't you just do a YouTube channel? And it kind of, even my buddies were like, hey man, you ever thought about, why don't you just review this stuff online? I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. And then, yeah, I just kind of just jumped into it. As for my, my love of the creature, actually, it was one of the first Universal monsters that I came across. I was in elementary school, and I've probably said this many times. The Orange books, those were they were
okay.
at my elementary school library. I picked them up, and I was just, I the creature was the first one I saw, and I just was so, I was like, oh my god. And then I took it home, and my mom was like, oh well, this is a movie, and I'm like, this is a movie. And then she showed me the movie, and then, like, after that I went to the library, and even though I kept getting the creature from the Black Lagoon one, I got the Dracula, and I got the other ones, and that's why ever since I was a kid, I've loved Universal monsters. I wasn't the biggest horror fan growing up, but Universal monsters was always like that consistent. I love the Universal monsters, especially the creature from the Black Lagoon. So it was, yeah.
That's
and kind of like Rachel. What I didn't know back then was that my mom is actually a huge fan of like horror movies. One of her favorites is The Exorcist and The Fog.
Okay.
So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, I was not really watching many horror movies with my parents. Well, my parents weren't willingly watching them with me. But let me just say that sometimes we did, but I was in my room or a TV room or somewhere, with a few exceptions. Actually, I was more of a sci-fi. If you would have asked me, I would have said sci-fi was my genre when I was a kid. Of course, there's a lot of overlap with giant monsters and so forth. But my dad he liked a few, like The Thing from Another World. He was a fan of that one. Speaking of James Arness, we were talking about him backstage. But yeah, and of course, I'm old enough to remember when they did make the rounds on the UHF channels, and yeah, they grabbed me. But you know what? It's interesting. You said, Rachel, when you were talking about having an appreciation for the creature, and some of them seem scary at first. When you get to the creature, it's a whole different sort of ball game. Like it's much more sympathetic. And I actually watched all these movies with my son, who's now studying film in college, by the way. But when we got to this one, he turned to me and he was like, "Who are the good guys in this?" It's really kind of different. And do you guys agree with me that the sort of reverence or the appreciation for this film sort of went up over the years?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it seems like it. I think the film itself and the storyline, I saw an interview, I think it was Ben Chapman had said it, that there's something about the storyline of the creature that really it wasn't Ben Chapman, it was Tom Woodruff Jr. who said that the storyline of the creature, it evolves over time and it never gets old, and it can always be put into whatever decade. And I think that's why it's only growing and it's not slowing down the actual movie.
Right. Like I think maybe when it came out, it was some years after the, previous any of the previous monsters that had been introduced. And it was like, sort of almost like the end of an era. But then people have realized there's a lot more going on under the surface. No pun intended there. But yeah, it is. And well, if it's timeless, then that's good news for the remake. I think we really have an opportunity to get a good movie here, but we're going to get into that. Russell is in the chat. He's saying, "What's up, everyone? Smash the like button." And he already has. Thank you, Russell. And he says it's a classic and he enjoyed it. That's good. And Patrick is here from Have Cheetah Will View. We need more creature. Yes. I mean, we've needed more creature for decades. There've been so many rumored remakes, and we've had to settle for the Monster Squad, I guess, which was not horrible. What do you guys think of that creature? Just getting off on a tangent already. What do you think of the film and the creature from the Black Lagoon in the film?
You want to go first, Rachel?
Sure. For me, I do like my creature to be less toothy and maybe a little less muscular, but there was something that I couldn't help but adore about the Monster Squad, Like
Mhm.
as a kids movie, I just think it's so much fun to have all of the monsters team up like that.
Yeah.
And there's something about it that just makes me end up liking the creature and just not even caring what he looks like. And it's its own thing. And I find that over time, because the creature evolves so much in everyone's adaptation of it, that if I nitpick too much, then I feel like I'm just not going to enjoy it, and I would rather just enjoy it for what it is instead of comparing him to the original Gilman. Because I mean, even the three films originally are so different from each other that
Yeah. Yeah.
it's easy to tear it apart if you want to.
Right. And actually, and one of the things I want to bring up is Revenge of the Creature. The second one was a Mystery Science Theater episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty funny, but I
It
won't
was
get
funny.
to that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But when they started off showing the Lagoon and the one guy starts singing like Frank Sinatra, egrets, I've had a few.
Or there's the other part where one of the guys he jumps into like the pool or something, and they're like, "It's Henry Rollins to the rescue!" Like it's like me and my buddy, we would stay up watching Mystery Science Theater when it came on. It was like
Yeah,
it was great.
It was the heyday.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Russell says he would love to see a remake if it's done right. Yes, I think we all would, for sure. Let's see. Yeah, well, I guess we'll get right into like sort of the film and the sequels. When did what are your overall? Like we have already talked about, they are quite different. I mean, the second one was directed by Jack Arnold. I really had no idea who was involved in the third one, so I just looked it up today. I had no recollection, and it's like Larry and I said, we recognize people from this island Earth, which was kind of interesting. And the second one was a Mystery Science Theater episode. But what are your thoughts of it overall, Rachel?
The second one or the third one?
Second one, Revenge.
Second one? Well, the Revenge of the Creature, I don't want to say it's my least favorite, but it's definitely the one that makes me the saddest for the creature, because I feel like they really try really hard to make the creature the villain in the second one, like even more so than the first or the third movie. And I think I don't know, it's so hard because I like seeing the creature. I feel like we get some really cool shots of the creature in the second one. I don't like the face mask as much since the eye holes are bigger in it, and I feel like super tell, like more than I think they had anticipated you'd be able to tell. And so I think the Revenge of the Creature just makes me sad, so I don't rewatch that one nearly as much as I do the other two.
Right. And again, with the close-ups, when you see his face with those big eye holes, that lent itself to some jokes when they did it on Mystery Science Theater. They always mess around with the eyes. They did the same thing with Godzilla. Let's make the eyes larger and more goofy. Let's appeal to kids. Let's do this. The only eyes they ever got right was Alien. Changing the alien eyes. He was originally going to have some eyeballs on the outside, and they said that's not going to work. More like a motorcycle visor. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Well, just look at the Predator, the original design of the Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what they ended up coming up with. I mean, Stan Winston, with the help of James Cameron. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, I do like it. I kind of like John Agar. There's something about him that's just, I don't know. And the other great thing about it is, I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan. I actually want to start a whole series where I review like all the Clint Eastwood movies that he starred in and directed. The great thing is, in the episode after his little comic relief scene, they actually don't even say Clint Eastwood. They just make a joke about who is that guy. He's never going to amount to much. Oh God, that's pretty funny for sure. I
usually make the joke that that's like his greatest film ever.
Oh right, yeah.
And I joke around that that's his best movie ever.
Hey, if only he was in the first one, that would have been.
Can you imagine that?
I would have liked it.
That would have been. I mean, looking back today, it might be like distracting. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
But I'm actually working my way through Rawhide, as I said, and I've been enjoying him on that. It's also interesting to see who shows up. You got like Don McGowan, Lon Chaney Jr. is in 2 episodes.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't know if he ever really had a good swan song in the movies because of his alcoholism and everything. This is as close as he ever came, I think. In both episodes, he plays like these sad, kind of simple characters, and he has it like kind of a speech in both the episodes that he's in, and it's both of them are kind of heart-wrenching a little bit. Yeah, those are good. And then Claude Rains is in one.
Nice.
Yeah, he's like a drunk judge who has to retry a case even though he doesn't have any official capacity. Anyway, I'm all way off tangent here, but Mayanne is in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Everyone's saying hi to each other. Russell wasn't a fan of Return/Revenge. Now, was it like a Revenge or Revenge of the Jedi type situation? Were there any posters in existence that said Return? Because it's almost like the opposite, right?
Yeah, I don't think there was. Not that I can remember. I've looked up a lot of stuff because I remember when I was a kid thinking it was Return of the Creature. So I was thinking maybe it was like a Mandela effect where that's what I thought it was. But then no, as I got older, I was like, no, it's always has been Revenge of the Creature.
Okay, because I just saw on IMDb it said AKA Return of the Creature. I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any posters unless it's like a foreign poster or something, but it's just translated differently.
Yeah, I'm glad. Hold that thought about a foreign poster. We'll get there in a minute. Oh boy, I have something to show you guys. Anyway, but yeah, also like The Fly. I mean, not The Fly. The Invisible Man. You had Return of and Revenge, so it does get confusing. Speaking of Claude Rains, but what did you guys think? Let me ask you this: what did you think the best scene in Creature Walks Among Us was, Larry? Because there was a few moments that almost harkened back, gave you that feeling of watching the original.
I would have. Well, I'm gonna be kind of biased just because I just love the original design. I love when he's coming out of the water and like kind of like just hunting him down, like just kind of taking him out from all sides. The only thing that I thought was kind of like watching it again, I was like, it seems like he's pouring the gasoline on himself.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, very obvious that it. I mean, I guess if he's the creature, he's not really going to know what a gasoline can is, but it was like, they really went for that idea of they really wanted to show the audience he was going to get burned, even though in the original one there was fire involved too. But I guess this was real. Yeah, I guess dousing him with himself with gasoline just made it worse. We'll just say that. Yeah, that part was a little funny, but I thought that whole sequence was good. That's exactly what I was going to say. Because he was like under them. It's almost like Aliens, right? When he's like, oh, they're over here. He's over here, and then he's like ramming the boat, and that was pretty good. How about you?
Those are probably probably my favorite scene.
Yeah,
I think I'm right there with you guys. It's so good, and it's the last time we get to see the original suit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right. Yeah, I thought like as far as a sort of emotional scene, what do they put him in there with, like sheep or something?
The goats.
Yeah, goats. But when the puma, the cougar, the mountain lion attacks, you got to see his strength. Of course, they cut away, because budget reasons. I mean, I can't get away from Rawhide. I mean, I've seen there was an episode of Rawhide where they get stalked by a cougar, and I think they swapped in a trainer with one of the, as a stuntman who was experienced, like wrestling with it, and actually looked pretty good. But I guess they just didn't have the budget to do that. So you see a quick scene of him like slamming it down. But yeah, that scene was okay. But the sort of the love triangle though, what is it? Yikes! I just didn't really go anywhere.
Well, going back to what you were talking about, Shadan, about the that scene where he's in the cage like that. Those were the parts that were kind of like, man, like it's tugging on the sympathy strings for him, because I mean, really, as you're watching it, he's not really doing anything bad. He notices the goats are afraid of him, and he kind of just like backs away.
Yeah,
it's not until what's his name, Exeter kills the one guy, and all of a sudden then he goes on a rampage, and then it's just like, but he's going after Exeter.
Right.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, like it kind of they did a really good job of like getting you to sympathize with him in those
Yeah.
scenes. And
Mhm.
it's like he's not just just a lumbering monster.
Right.
Something like what they would do with Frankenstein's monster before. But
Yeah. But then, as we said, it just ends.
yeah, he's like staring at the water, and then that's it.
Just
What is it, like 78 minutes or something like that? I mean, it's a short one, but
yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. Like, there's a guy on YouTube, Dr. Gangrene. He hosts horror movies in Nashville. He was doing a countdown once, and he was talking about like when you get to the third movie, you got to do something different. And unfortunately, one of the movies he was talking about was Curse of the Fly, which is not quite as good as the other two. But they went radically different in that one, and they kind of did in this one too. So I think the ideas were there. It's just, would you agree? Like there were some ideas there, but like the execution just didn't quite come together.
I think so. I think storyline wise, I think it's an okay film. I think the love triangle thing is a little silly. It almost feels like they were trying to bring back the love triangle they were trying to establish with Mark and Kay and everything in the first Creature from the Black Lagoon. But I just think that maybe the writing wasn't quite there. And the budget, I think, has to be a problem, because it sounds like they were kind of like they were excited to do the third one, but when the second one didn't do well, they kind of just went and got it over with.
Yeah.
Well, and you have a creature movie, but you like hardly ever see him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that was the other thing too. Is just I was just like, man, we need more creature in this film. And then a lot of the stuff that you see, it's like the stuff of him attacking them is just more of like it's a splash here, splash there. You would see him like underwater a little bit, but it wasn't like prominent like it was in Revenge or even in the original.
Yeah. Took a while to get to the boat attack scene. That took a little while. And the blonde actress, I don't know her name. She was a piece of work. Like she was not blast away at sharks. It's a different era.
Yeah.
She was a little different than Kay was.
Yeah, a lot different. Now, from the original cast, and you know what? You had Exeter and the other guy. You had like three dark-haired guys with deep voices. It was like, you know what I mean? Where the original, you had Nestor Paiva, you had Whit Bissell, you had some different personalities. A guy like Whit Bissell brings a lot to a movie, whether you realize it or not. But from the original film, like who were some of your favorite characters, and even like, have you guys seen them in any other movies that the actors or actresses that you've enjoyed?
Well, I will say what's funny is, so I'm a big Cary Grant fan outside of Monster World, and recently I was rewatching An Affair to Remember, and Richard Denning was in it, and I was shocked because I hadn't watched that film in so long, and I guess I just either I forgot or I hadn't realized it was him. But as soon as I heard his voice, I go, wait, that's Mark. And but I think as far as favorites, I love Whit Bissell. I think he like you said, he did bring something extra. He really felt like the scientist of the group. Like he made it feel very very real. I feel like it didn't feel like a movie. It kind of brought some humanity to the whole cast and made it more believable.
Well, yeah, I mean, even like kind of what you were saying, like the guys in this one and in Creature Walks Among Us, it's all like strong-jawed, dark-haired, like, yes, all men talk like this, where you didn't have that in the original cast. Everybody seemed unique, and that's what kind of made it. That's what kind of made, like Rachel was saying, that kind of gave it more of a believable sort of, I mean, it's a monster, it's a creature movie, you know what I mean? But still, it's kind of like it wasn't just like they weren't scientists just for plot purposes, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like this one, watching it again, like the guys were just kind of like, they were talking about how the guy put the stuff out, and just little things like that. It's kind of like, okay, so now we're just talking about science,
right?
For plot reasons, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like a lot of like actual B movies used to do back
Yeah.
then. We'll fill it up with some mumbo jumbo.
Mhm.
But yeah, Whit Bissell, like whether it was what I Was a Teenage Werewolf or whatever, he was like a Peter Cushing guy. Like the movie might not have been great, but he took it seriously and gave 100%. And I think that's what was missing a little bit in the third one. But
I do also want to say real fast, I think that we missed a Captain Lucas. He provided that comic relief in like the perfect subtle way. And we got him a little bit in Revenge at the beginning there, but it would have been nice to have maybe him or a character like him in Creature Walks Among Us would have maybe been good too. Like not a bunch of comic relief. You don't want it to be a comedy, but just those little
Yeah, just those little like, and I mean, if you really think about it, like he had a little dark humor too, and
Totally.
Creature from the Black Lagoon,
Mhm.
where he talks about like, oh, I'm the captain of this boat and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't know. This one, I still think Creature Walks Among Us is still probably my least favorite because of like a lot of the points that y'all are bringing up. I mean, it's just, I don't know. The big one for me is just the costume, the suit, the mask. Like, I just can't get past that. Even though like we were talking about Monster Squad before, I feel like the body was still very much creature, creature-esque, and I like the mask of the creature mask itself. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit more toothy, but I like the eyes, the way it looked, and stuff like that. And as you mentioned, Tom Woodruff Jr., he was the one that was in that suit.
Yep.
So my only complaint is that he died off really quickly, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just showed up. Like there should have been some connection in the plot. Like they should have had to go to a lagoon to get something or do something. It was like. It was like, it's almost like, we left off a monster. Here he is. It's like, okay. Sure. I mean,
he was just chilling in the lake.
Yeah, I'll take it, but
but yeah, just a shotgun to the chest. I was like, really? That's it?
Yeah.
I mean, because he gets shot in these other movies and he's fine. Gets burned and he's all of a sudden he has 3rd-degree burns.
Right.
I don't know.
It's very convenient that way.
Yeah. It's plot. That's why.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go on to collecting a little bit here. And but Mayanne is in the chat. Thank you, Mayanne, for saying hi to everybody. And Katie from Popping the Popcorn is in the chat. Hi, Katie. Great to hear from you. Mayanne hasn't seen any of these. Well, we're going to be talking about the upcoming remake, Mayanne. Maybe the remake will pique your interest. I don't believe you're a fan of black and white movies or older movies. I know you're a big Chucky fan, but And I've talked to a couple other YouTubers in comments and stuff who are kind of interested in the remake, but they have never seen the original. I was like, oh, come on, guys, you got to watch it for sure. So yeah, but as far as collecting goes, do you guys are you guys, Larry, you're mostly a figure guy. I mean, is that a fair statement pretty much?
I mean, sort of. I mean, when my cat came in, I don't know if you could tell, but that
saw the door.
Yeah.
That poster in the mirror right there, that's a Creature from the Black Lagoon poster.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically like, I'll explain it because you can't really see it, but it's basically a porthole, and the creature's face is like right there.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like it's really, really. I mean, the artist, one of my favorite artists, did that one, and I had to get it. He did 2 versions. There's one where I had to get it's green and you see the red lips and stuff like that. The other one is just like, it's black and white, but the eyes are green.
Oh,
but
cool.
I had to get that one. I love it so much. It's probably one of my favorite creature prints.
Right. Yeah.
But I get stuff, I'm all over the place.
Yeah. I know a lot of times they really do, when you get a mask or something, and they really, the lips didn't seem that red in the movies, I don't think. But when you get, obviously, you're holding a physical thing that's in color. Did you guys happen to see? I put it up late. That little clip from the Brady Bunch, where
Bobby
wearing the Creature from the Black Lagoon mask.
When did you post that?
Just like about 2 hours ago. Yeah, it was late.
Oh, okay.
it wouldn't let me put in a picture. It kept putting it sideways, and I was getting frustrated, so I finally just left it out. But yeah, way in the back of my head, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't there a Brady Bunch episode where wait, who's the youngest one? Bobby. Yeah. Where Bobby's wearing the creature from the Black Lagoon mask. And sure enough, there's actually a number of masks. They're Don Post masks in that episode. And then I stumbled on a McHale's Navy episode where they all have different masks on. And I was like, oh, I guess they didn't have a creature mask. And then at the end, somebody comes up and, after like, oh, we were just kidding, because the commanders and Joe Flynn, he's an idiot and he believes everything. And then somebody comes up wearing a creature mask. But it's I was going to put it in the video, but it's a little cringy because it's a Japanese character, and McHale says something like that. There's our little samurai or something like that. I was like, I don't know. It's a little awkward, but but I love seeing like little things like that from like the 60s and 70s that they used to put in, but yeah. And like we were talking about the songs, there's how many are there? There's a lot. And I think it's a testament to the film. I had heard the one that you had in one of your videos, Rachel, the Creeps one, the creature from the Black Leather Lagoon. I had heard that before, but I forgot about it. And then Larry mentioned a couple, and then I found another one. But yeah, I know some people might think the creature gets short shrift, but really, like, as far as the image and everything, it's
I feel like it's if anything, it's more it's out there more than anything else, lately I've been seeing a lot more people do like creature prints and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow, where's this coming from? I feel like sometimes it's kind of hard to find stuff that's like, that I want to get, or it's creature related, but it's hard. It's for me, it's most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I was like, oh, if something of the creature, like I got to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I found a pin when I was out of town. I found like one of those emerald pens. I found one of those, and then just like random stuff. And it's like oh, this is cool. And I'm weird like that, I guess.
Yeah, and the blind boxes that you've opened and everything. Yeah. I actually went back because I got a bunch of these. The one brand, the Johnny Lightning Universal Monsters. But I realized like I had never really finished. Now, one of them is universally like despised because it's supposed to be like a Dracula car, and it's just a black car. And it's people are like, if you squint, it looks like a bat. I don't really know what they were going for that. So I don't know if I need to get everyone, but there's a few more good ones I want to get for sure. And I guess, Rachel, you collect pretty much all things creature, suffice to say, and some other things too. Do you want to tell us about what some of your interests are?
Sure. So yeah, I definitely collect all things creature. I do try to be a little more strict with it because there's just so much out there. So I do try to prioritize licensed creature things, although I do have quite a few things that are not licensed that I couldn't pass on. But I am more leaning towards vintage right now than anything. But I do have my collections within my collection that I'm trying to finish. And then I also collect Halloween 1978 with a little bit of Halloween too. I like the whole Halloween franchise. I am a sucker for even the really silly ones, but Halloween 1978 I just think is one of the greatest films ever made. I think the suspense buildup, there's just nothing else like it. I really love the imagery, just everything about it. So that's a big one for me. And then funny enough, I also collect Three's Company memorabilia, which was like my favorite show and is still one of my favorite shows.
It's hilarious. Great show.
Yeah.
Well, Don Knotts.
Oh yeah.
I am partial to the Ropers, but
like the Ropers, yeah. I remember when they had the spin-off show.
Yeah.
And then it bombed, and then Norman Fell was like, well, I guess I'm going back to the show. And they were like, sorry. Oh yeah. But Patrick says he loves black and white films. And also, how about the Brady Bunch with Billy the Kid? That was a great one when he's Bobby's hero. Yeah, Three's Company is hilarious. Yeah, so, well, yeah, do you guys want to show some stuff as far as collecting? Okay. Here, let me, since we mentioned it, a couple things as far as, because I want to ask you guys about licensed, non-licensed. Now, I collect all kinds of little things. I found my my Lego Monster Fighters.
Oh, nice.
Creature
cool.
inspired. Yeah, those are definitely pretty cool. And then, there's the, some of the made in China stuff. Like I had this thing called the Big Tube of Monsters or Big Bucket of Monsters. They had a couple. So there's like 20 of each in there. There's like 20 of each. Frankenstein. There's a Godzilla. I think for Mothra, they called it Giant Moth. And then for Creature, they called it Lagoon Man. But, they know they're not going to get sued. So they're like, whatever, But, and then as far as like, sort of like supporting local sort of smaller artists, one of the first things I got after I started my channel was this. This is from
nice.
Angela. It's like a heart shape because her store is called Morbid Heart Designs. She also made this one here. How do you guys feel about that? Do you have any problems? Like if someone like does like some local artist makes like a creature, something about, creature handbag, a creature poster. I don't have any problem with that. I think that's great personally.
I think it's awesome to see the different artists take the creature and do it in their art form and kind of do their own interpretation. You get so many unique pieces that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In fact, I believe it's a Mondo poster. They did something similar to like the heart. So it's like and I'll have to send you a picture of it. It's one of my favorite prints also. And it's just like, it's a heart, but it's got the scales of the Gillman. And it's got like a harpoon, sort of like a heart with an arrow through it, but it's a harpoon.
Yeah.
So
right.
I would be against that, but I love that idea.
Yeah, look, it's really cool. I'll have to send y'all a picture of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But then this other one came into my life, and it's by far probably one of my favorites that I have. I just wish I don't know. I just, when it comes to artwork and stuff like that, I'm always I've actually gotten a lot more picky about stuff. There's it's like, I don't know. I have a certain style that I want things to look like. And so, that's why I used to collect a lot of art prints, and I have a lot of art prints that are put away and stuff like that. And I just try to be more particular with that. With figures, the same thing. And I think I talked to you about this too, Mr. Dan, before, when they released that Steelbook, was it last year, of Creature from the Black Lagoon? Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah,
it's like a black and white steelbook looking thing. Look, beautiful artwork.
Right.
But I already have it on Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray looks stunning. Like I just love the way it looks. So for me, it's like, do I really need to get the steelbook?
Yeah.
Not really. I already have it, and I love the version I have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's where I get kind of particular about certain things.
Right. Yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, I guess I could have researched this. Speaking of posters and Japanese posters and everything, I don't know if you can see that, but he's
that's funny.
Oh, I see.
He's got like a Navy ship, like he's holding. There's a warplane there, like a Japanese Zero, and
that's pretty funny.
He's like Godzilla size. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, do you guys know if that's official or just like
I don't. I would think it's probably not, but
yeah.
I mean, official. Do you think like in Japan they just took it and made their own poster? Like,
I'm sure.
That's a possibility because they did they did some crazy stuff. But I don't know. I got a kick out of that. And it's funny too because one of my favorite other movies is The Monster That Challenged the World. One of my other favorite sea creature type movies, and I know that in the trailer for that they made it seem like he was like a giant monster attacking San Francisco, and then people saw it and they were like, he's not that big. But so I got that from Temu, and I have mixed feelings. Sometimes do I really need to keep going to Temu to get stuff? Those Bruce Lee figures I showed, they actually on their site, they just said like martial arts figures. And I was like, I think those are Bruce Lee figures. And then I got them.
I would say so.
Yeah, and they were. And I've even seen another video from another guy in the UK that unboxed them like a while back. So yeah, they're actual Bruce Lee figures. And then here's for the non-Gillman thing that I got. They actually had this on Temu, Larry, if you can believe it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Neck of Frankenstein.
Nice.
So here comes the embarrassing part. So I got the Bruce Lee figures. I got that. And then I guess I wasn't paying attention because I have gotten some metal signs. Like there's a Bruce Lee. It's a pretty good likeness. I've seen some that aren't. That's the thing. And some of those creature signs that I showed on my Instagram that I took down to my son's place, they're not the best representations. But then I got this. Oh my God. I thought I ordered a creature figure. Look at.
Oh wow, that's funny.
It's a metal sign
Amigo figure.
of Amigo figure. Can you believe
it looks like it. I totally. It's from the angle. It looks 3D.
Right. And I always check the dimensions of everything because everything you get from there is a little smaller than you think it is. So I always check the dimensions. And I went back and sure enough, it said 2D sign. And I was like, oh, what a dummy. And of course, that's the one that came packed in cardboard. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they aren't. I've gotten a few that have been dented, but anyway, that's the lesson learned. I'm pulling away from that, and it's kind of like you guys. I'm more interested in like licensed stuff or stuff that has a vintage feel. Like I'll round out my collection of these cars because they're officially licensed and everything. It's weird. Just randomly, I had a Dracula car I think it's from this company, Johnny Lightning. It didn't say Universal anywhere on the package, but on the back it said licensed by the Lugosi estate. I thought that was really interesting. So I guess they had some power because I know it's his who is it? His grandson, I think, is very he's active in the sort of the community. His legacy,
son is granddaughter. And so the thing with the licensing with Bela Lugosi and with Dracula is so Universal owns the rights to Dracula, but if it's Bela Lugosi's likeness, so if it's a 1931 Dracula, that likeness of Bela Lugosi, that Dracula rather, is owned by Lugosi estate. And so anything that has Bela Lugosi's face as Dracula on it, you have to have it licensed by the Lugosi family. But if it's anything else, it's Universal. And the same thing is with Frankenstein. If it's anything Boris Karloff, the original Frankenstein, 1931, it has to be licensed from the Karloff estate. Otherwise, it goes through Universal.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad that they've got descendants and relatives who are getting something, and they do actually a lot of those. For many of them, that's their livelihood. They go to events and things, and they preserve the legacy. I went to a screening of see, now I'm stuck on Revenge of Return. Return of the Fly, and Victoria Price was there in the audience.
Oh, so cool.
It was very cool. Very cool. But that's really interesting.
It's the same they do with Chaney. You'll see Lon Chaney. It's the same thing. Like they have if you see the mark of like, it's basically the Phantom, like that's the symbol. It's like, and it'll say Chaney. It's licensed by the Chaney estate.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's very cool. What else was I going to say? Dracula. And I finally did see what is it? Mark of the Vampire, where he plays a vampire, but that was actually, I did enjoy that. That was pretty good. Kind of a treat to see. Made me think of the older films, of course. But what do you guys? Let's just go for it. Larry, you want to start and show us something?
Sure. I would probably have to say my favorite. Well, not. It's hard to say one of my favorite creature collectibles. I will say the one that got me back into collecting was, and I've said this before, but the Mondo creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, cool.
I absolutely like when this came up for pre-order. Like my wife got me this for Christmas, and it's just I'd been waiting for Mondo to do the rest of them. I was like, okay, I gotta have like Dracula, and I gotta have Wolfman. Like I've been waiting, and then they never came. They started making other stuff, and I was like, okay. And then NECA came along, and they started doing, and then that's when I got into NECA, was just buying those,
Right.
And but no, that's probably my favorite. Probably it is top for my favorite figure from Creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, I have all the other NECA, like a lot of the other NECA
Mhm.
ones, and I love those too. You know, even this guy that I got last year, the translucent creature
All
one,
right. Mhm.
Oh,
like
cool. Yeah.
he yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really nice. I guess one I was gonna show, I think I mentioned it in our chat. One that I got over the weekend. I didn't know this. Well, I knew it existed because I saw a picture of it. I had never seen it in the wild, so when I saw it, I had to pick it up. And it was this Funko, Freddy Funko as a
Oh,
creature.
nice.
I don't know if you can really tell, but
Oh,
it's basically like the body is a creature, and then like Freddy is, just has a green head. I don't know if you can really tell, but yeah, I saw pictures of it and I was like, oh man, that's super cool. And then when I saw it in person, I was like, oh, I had to have it because I don't know, man, it's really cool.
yeah.
Uh, for non creature stuff, I mean, man, that's way way harder because it's like from like predator stuff to the thing. It's just that's hard. Actually, no, one of my favorite non creature. I have it put away right now, but I have like a mini poster of Night of the Living Dead, and it's signed by like George Romero,
Mhm.
uh, Judith O'Day, like basically the
Oh,
surviving members. The only person I hope I can meet, hopefully, is Russo, and have him sign it.
okay. Wow, that would be awesome.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
that is very cool. I have very few signed things. That's very cool. What was I going to say? No, go ahead, Rachel, and I'll think of it.
Okay. It is hard to pick a favorite, but I have a favorite. I did the video on him. It would be my robot creature. He still has a little wind up in him, so he's going already. But this guy is. Let me get the box really fast, so you can see the box. And this was from. It's from 1991, and I believe these were made in Japan, and they did all of them. But the Dracula one isn't by the same company, I guess, but it's like designed exactly the same. And I do want to get all of these, which is something I don't always do. I try to just stick with the creature, mostly because of space more than anything.
Yeah.
But these are so cool, and I really love those vintage robot toys. So to find a creature one was just insane to me.
That's awesome. Like first of all, like it's that vintage packaging and feel. But if I get my granddaughter's a wind up toy nowadays, it lasts a week. I remember wind up toys back then when I hate to be like this, but when I was a kid, you would wind them up and they had ones that had sparks that came out and stuff. Like dinosaurs that actually had shot sparks. Yeah. But I love stuff like that. That is awesome.
It's so cool. I love it. And I don't know, for my other stuff, I think over the weekend I got the NECA Ben Cooper glow in the dark figure.
Oh.
And I love these figures. I have the original one, but the glow in the dark, I still haven't tested it out, so I don't know how well it glows in the dark. But the other one I was reaching for, I knew he was gonna fall. It's a sideshow piece, and a friend of mine gifted it to me recently, and it's posable, everything. It's really great, and I think they also came in color, but it has a little stand. Just has like barely hold them on there, but it falls over. Anytime we have an earthquake or anything, I have to be really careful. But yeah, and he came with a few other pieces, but my friend who gave him to me didn't have those anymore. I think it came with a harpoon as well.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I'm a sucker for all things glow in the dark. I even got some glow in the dark tape to put on my Hot Wheels track.
Oh, nice.
I just love everything that glows in the dark. I love it for whatever reason. But
it makes it more fun, I think.
Yeah, they definitely get their money's worth out of me when they do that. But that's awesome. That's very cool.
And
very
then
cool.
For my thing that's not creature related, it's kind of hard to pick. I'm with you on that, Larry. I feel like there's especially with my Halloween stuff, it's such a small collection right now that I don't think I have a favorite. So since we were talking about Three's Company, I'll show you. I have a I have a ticket to see a live screening of Three's
Oh,
Company, and it's the original cast:
wow.
Suzanne Summers, Norman
Mhm.
Fell, and my friend gifted this to me as well. And this is what started me. I was like, I think I have to start a Three's Company collection.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
pretty cool. Yeah, oh, I'm sure there's lunch boxes and things out there.
Yeah,
That was the lunchbox era, you know.
definitely.
And what was that exercise program that Suzanne Summers used to hawk at
Oh,
late night
Right.
TV?
Thigh Master. It was a Thigh Master, right?
Yeah.
I have to get those VHS tapes.
Right. That's a deep collection there. All right, and then in the chat we have Acres of Movies. Stacy, she's saying, "What do you guys think about the creature in the relic? You guys remember what that looked like? I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
do.
It yeah, with the mandibles.
Yeah,
Yeah. That one actually I like that movie. I saw it in the theater. It was I enjoyed it. I didn't know what I was getting into when I went to
yeah.
go see it. Me and a buddy, it was like a Friday night, if I'm remembering correctly. The only thing I don't like is the film was too dark.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it was a little too dark, and I know it wasn't the theater. I know the film itself because
The
I had
film
seen it.
itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
the film itself was too dark because I saw it later on, like on VHS, and I was like, man, this movie is it was too dark, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what you could see, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Have you seen that film?
I don't think I have. I know the name is very familiar. I
Yeah.
have a picture that comes to mind of what the creature might look like, but I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm confusing it with another film.
Right. Mhm.
Does he kind of have like a longer face in the relic?
Yeah, well, he's got like sort of like mandibles or something.
Yeah, like pretty prominent. Yeah.
I think I think I can picture him. I never saw the film, but I don't think I knew that it was supposed to be creature related because of how how different he looked.
Yeah. And Mayanne says that Timu played me, correct? And then she also says collecting, what's that? Because,
Yeah,
Mayanne doesn't have any like Chucky figures or anything like that.
she has a similar sort of creature corner.
Yes.
Oh,
or
cool.
Chucky corner.
Yes, she has like a Chucky corner and all kinds of like different,
Yeah.
not just like the things you think of when you think of collectibles. You know what I mean? She has like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. And then Patrick is asking me about having any Bigfoot collectibles. He knows that I also have two trucks, a Bigfoot and a Yeti, and it's an ongoing joke that they have a rivalry. And then they're also mentioning Donnie Yen is directing John Wick spinoff. That's cool. Do you like the creature? Stacy asked, do you like the creature of Mentango? That sounds familiar, but I don't know. I don't think I've seen it.
I don't think I'm familiar with it.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, okay. No, and he says that's the one where they're like mushroom creatures. I know the reputation of it. Yeah.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah. And then Mayanne says, got a rep for baby Chucky. Yeah. Yeah. What a great friend on YouTube Mayanne is.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's the best. Oh, okay. Hey, you guys want to get into movies now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Movie talk, little boom. Okay, so let me throw you guys a curveball as far as Universal goes. I've read that in about a year from now, they have a release date, April 17th, 2026. They're going to try again for another Mummy movie.
Oh.
It's New Line, Atomic Monster, which is James Wan, who's producing it, and Blumhouse. And it's going to be directed by Lee Cronin, who did Evil Dead Rise.
Okay.
And there's a couple names attached to it, actors or actresses, I don't know who it is. And they said they want to get back to the horror origins of it. So I guess less, Indiana Jones type adventure.
Yeah.
The horror type origins of it. What are your thoughts? It seems like, yeah, after the Tom Cruise one, which I have, but I still haven't watched. That's kind of what they have to do. What are your thoughts, guys?
I'll let you go, Rachel.
Okay. Sorry, Larry. I was like, I don't know who goes. I love that idea to do a more horror themed Mummy. incredible. I mean, that gets us more to the Boris Karloff mummy. I like the 90s Brendan Fraser mummy. I think it's fun, but it is very Indiana Jones leaning. And then I didn't see the Tom Cruise mummy either. So
I have it. I've got that. I've got like almost all things sort of Universal related. I just finally watched The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro. I even have Mary Riley, with Julie Roberts. I haven't watched that yet, but I do like to see other people's interpretations of sort of the classic monsters. I thought The Invisible Man was excellent. I don't know. What did you think about that?
I really, really liked that, and I really wish they would have done a sequel. I thought it did well enough to warrant a sequel, but I don't know. I mean, I was interested in it when I saw the trailer. I was like, okay, this looks a little different. Then I finally saw it, and I was like, man, this is really good.
It was really good.
I mean, even when they first, before he got involved with it, I was interested in the Mummy film, but then it became a Tom Cruise featuring the Mummy, and then I was just like, okay, this is gonna suck.
Tom Cruise running in the trailer.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay. Mission Impossible meets the Mummy, I guess, And,
we must stimulate that he runs in the trailer. It's like, we get it. You're in shape, even though you're old. Got it. Figured it out.
I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the hate for Dracula Untold, because I saw it in the theater. I thought it was great.
It's pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
And the way they ended it off, and like, I was like, okay, cool, man. We're gonna get this is gonna be the start of the Dark Universe or whatever. And then they were like, no, this is gonna actually be the Dark Universe. I'm like, oh my god. And but that I don't know, that Mummy one with Tom Cruise. I did not want to see it, and then it was like on FX, and I was like just doing stuff. I was like, well, there's nothing else. Let me just throw it on. I went halfway into it was already halfway through, and I was just like, well, I'm glad I didn't waste too much time on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to watch it just for the principle of the.
I will say I feel like they wasted Russell Crowe as Hyde.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Dr. Jekyll or whatever. Like, I thought that was wasted. I thought it was kind of cool that you see certain things, like little Easter eggs that he's collecting through that film. I won't give anything away unless you already know, Mr. Dan, but I thought that was kind of cool. That aspect of it, but I just wish it wouldn't have been Tom Cruise. I think if he wouldn't have not been in the film would have been a little different. Kind of similar to like when you're like when you think of not Total Recall, Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, right.
It's I mean, if it wasn't him, it'd be a totally different, animal.
Yeah, and we're getting, and that's one remake that in a way it's going to be, a closer adaptation of the book. So I that's one I'm definitely interested in, because certainly the first one was a Schwarzenegger vehicle. For sure. It's funny too. Like a lot of those movies, a lot of the older films, you had guys that kind of looked like the handsome leading man characters, but some of them kind of fell apart and lost their nerve. And a lot of times it was like an older type scientist dude. It didn't seem like they were trying to push like the hot young thing on you in a monster movie. It was like, hey, let's make some really good characters, and some of them might be like older, and yeah, I guess that wasn't a thing back then, but yeah, now everything is like a vehicle, right? Like a Jason Statham vehicle or Tom Cruise. Yeah. But anyway, speaking of, I've always thought, when you go back to like House of Frankenstein and everything, I started listening to Hans Salter music the other day, and then House of Frankenstein came on after Creature from Black Lagoon. I started thinking about it. The monsters that were missing from all those mashups were the Mummy and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think that those two would be like a good crossover.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's a river in Egypt, and I'm pretty sure they have lagoons. I don't know.
Coming out of the Black Sea.
Right. Are there different? Yeah. And see, getting back to Creature Walks Among Us, it would have been cool if maybe even they added a second one or something like that. But what do you guys think? What do you think about the upcoming? It's interesting. We got a release date for this Mummy movie, but nothing concrete for the Creature update, which is, I guess, that'll be directed by James Wan, written by someone named Sean Tretta, who wrote the Mayans MC show. I guess.
Oh, interesting.
And they're saying it's going to be, they're going to go back. It's going to be a visceral horror take, and there's going to be some tragic romance in it, and it's going to be sort of man going to the monster rather than, men, experimenting on things or doing things they shouldn't be doing. So far, it sounds like it could be good. What are your thoughts?
I'll let you go, Rachel.
Okay. I think when I first heard visceral horror, it kind of put me on edge of, are we going to make this too gory of a remake? Because I think part of what makes the original Universal Monster movies, and even things like the original Halloween or Jaws, is that kind of not seeing all the gore and building up to it. I think that makes a really great horror film, and I feel like we don't get that as much these days. And I worry about that with the creature, that they will make it too gory. I don't mind it a little bit, but just I don't want them to use it as a crutch and keep the storyline, because the creature had such a great story.
Right.
And I do like the idea, though, of the man going to the monster, because that makes me feel like they're going to stay somewhat true to the original storyline. And I do wonder if they're going to have it take place in the modern day, or if they're going to do a total remake rather than a reboot and have it take place back in the 50s.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting. And Mayanne is asking, is The Shape of Water a straight up remake? I think I know the answer. What are your thoughts?
I'd call it like an homage.
An homage or inspired by, right? Yeah.
Definitely. Like, that's probably I've told people that's the best remake we could ever, close to a remake we could
close
ever
to
have.
a remake, right?
I mean, that design's also looked pretty. I mean, I like the design of that creature, and I mean, even when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this straight up homage to Creature from the Black Lagoon. It has to be,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and of course, obviously, Guillermo del Toro is a huge fan, so just like he is with Frankenstein and so many other things. Echo's in the chat. Hi, Echo. How you doing? Men doing things they shouldn't be doing sounds like me the moment I wake up. Yeah, well. Oh, she liked the creature in Mayanne liked the creature in Shape of Water. Yeah, it was good design. And Kenny is saying he's keeping an open mind about The Running Man. And since Kenny came in late, Kenny and I have gone back and forth about Temu signs and everything. And he made a video where he's like, I'm probably going to get away from them because I've got a few dented ones. So I can't believe I'm going to show this again. But Kenny, I went through a whole thing. If you want to go rewatch it, where I ended up with this thinking it was going to be a figure. Anyway, thought you would get a kick out of that, Kenny. Yeah, I did write that down. Should it be PG-13 or R? I think it could work very well as like a PG-13 film. And I think this one is a kind of like a really could be, well, the original film is really a solid gateway horror for younger people, in my opinion, I think. So I would love to see that happen again, for sure. Certainly the creature has the potential to, snap people in two and et cetera, but I don't think we need to have it per se.
I just think like I'm very hesitant just because like I feel like everybody says this about James Wan, and then there's also a lot of this of James Wan, and I'm just kind of like, it's kind of one of those things where like I don't want it to get ruined. I mean, it's not going to ruin my love for the creature, the original film or anything like that. It's just, I just feel like I'll give you a good example. So, the Rift Track guys, we were talking about MST. Well, one of my favorite horror movies of all time is Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
And they did Night of the Living Dead. And when I was telling my friend about it, she was like, oh, are you really gonna watch that? I'm like, yeah, it should be great. And he's like, aren't they making fun of the movie and this and that? And I was like, they're not making fun of, they're making fun of the situations. So I don't know if that kind of explains what I'm trying to get at, or my point, where it's just like, I feel like them ruining, they're tarnishing the legacy of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they give us a bad film, one that really, really bombs or something like that. I mean, it's one thing if it's like people think it's bad, but it's actually pretty good,
Right.
But if it's like bad and it's like, yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this, and they make it super gory and bloody, and it's just like, okay, well, I'm with Rachel on that. I feel like less is more.
Yeah.
It's like just look at history. Darth Vader, less
Yeah.
is more. He was like what 3 minutes in A New Hope, and he's like the biggest thing. In Star Wars. Stuff like that. I just think that or the stuff in Halloween, like Rachel mentioned, there's hardly any blood or anything in it. In fact, they upped the kill factor in part 2 because they want to do something, and Carpenter really didn't want to do a sequel, so it's just kind of like, and then look how that turned out. And there are people that like it, and I like part 2 as well, but I don't know. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but it's just that long way around. I just feel like I hope it's good, and with all the what they're saying about it, I'm just like, okay, just don't give us. You don't need to give us too much fluff. Just give us, show us you actually care about the legacy of Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it sounds like from the description, they're going to go after sort of the essence of the creature. There's nobody. I mean, I don't. Some people, if you say Blumhouse, I don't know. I guess they maybe diluted things a bit. Everything is like Blumhouse. I don't know. Some people might groan, but so far from the description, it sounds pretty good. And my friend Joe the other day, Joe McCall, he was talking about. He was on a live stream with Marty. He was talking about that Shang-Chi movie. Now, I love kung fu movies. I did not read those comic books though, so when I saw the movie, I was like, okay, the movie was all right. I did enjoy it. He was talking about how different it was from the comics, and then when he was watching the special features, somebody was like, well, we wanted to make this as different from like the Shaw Brothers movies as possible. And he was like, he just turned it off. He was so mad at the guy, like, in other words, they took the essence of the comic book and went,
no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. They keep doing that, and it's like, I don't know why they keep doing that, or they let algorithms make their movies or something. I don't know.
They could just make a totally different movie.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. Just you can make a movie that's inspired by another movie, just make it like kind of totally different. I don't know.
Shape of Water.
Yeah, Shape of Water. I mean, even House of Wax, in my opinion, that's kind of a remake of Tourist Trap. It's not a remake of House of Wax.
Yeah.
I just watched the original House of Wax. First of all, it's okay. It's not great. And it's totally different, that's kind of.
Or just look at Last Man on Earth, and then look at the difference between Last Man on Earth, Omega Man, and then I Am Legend.
Yeah.
All three are just totally different films.
Yeah, and I kind of like all three of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I haven't seen Omega Man. I've only seen like bits and pieces, but I haven't seen it all the way through. But yeah, like I do like I did like I Am Legend minus the dodgy CGI vampires or whatever, the creatures. But I love the original with Vincent Price because it very much reminds me of Night of the Living Dead, even though it came before Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Sorry, I kind of went off tangent.
No, I'm glad you reminded me of something when you said dodgy CGI. That's the other big thing.
Yeah,
with the feature film, right? What are we going to get for effects? They haven't said anything about that. I mean, I think I know what. I think we all agree on the direction they should go. But what do you guys think they should?
Yeah.
I mean he did Aquaman and Aquaman 2, so it's kind of like, again, it's kind of I'm hesitant to be very, very supportive of it, but it is what it is.
I didn't see either one of those, to be honest with you, but
I saw the first one. The second one, I saw the trailer and I was like, yeah, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah, I felt like I saw it when I watched the trailer. And another villain saying, "I'm going to kill everybody," and it's like that's the thing. you know, we've seen that so many times when you have a movie like The Creature from Black Lagoon. There's a lot more subtle things going on. You know, yeah, but I would love for them to say we're going to cast so and so as the creature. I don't know about you guys. That would make me. Who do you think some of the candidates are? Who's the guy that was the motion capture guy that was Caesar?
Oh,
Oh my God.
what's his
He
name?
was in Black
Smeag-
Panther.
Smeagol, and he's
Yeah.
everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? He was also in The Prestige. He was also in man, why am I blanking on his name? I'm about to look that up. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Yeah.
I think I don't think he's tall enough.
And he's kind of.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Definitely. And then what about like Doug Jones? Of course, that one.
Well, he was
He's Shape of Water.
Yeah.
He was okay. Yeah, and I was going to say he was also what's his name? Abraham in
in
Hellboy,
Hellboy.
right? Kind of similar
Mhm.
character. I don't know. Maybe he could do it. Who? And then there's the I think the guy. I don't know if he's no. I'm thinking of the guy that played the original Alien. Anyway. There's another large guy that's been in a lot of things lately, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, obviously, I think we're all in agreement. We want to see some kind of a suit, some kind of really good prosthetics.
Yeah.
One person that I think could do it, and he's played other characters too, is Doug Mayers or Derek Mayers.
Derek Mears, yes.
Yeah, Swamp Thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Jason.
Yeah.
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 I think he would be a good because I mean he's built, but he's not like
Right.
like the Reacher guy where he's like super like bulky and massive.
Because then you got to, it's like the whole RoboCop thing. Then you got to put the suit on top of him, and even though it's not a metal suit, they had to get Peter Weller, who was a marathon runner. They couldn't get. You can't have Arnold as RoboCop. He'd be like 6 feet wide. But no, he's good. He was really good in the sequel to the Hills Have Eyes remake. I went back and rewatched that. That's actually not bad. It was much better than I remembered it. And his character, his skin looked like it was made out of like stone, and he like blended in. Yeah, he's really good in those roles.
Yeah.
That's a solid pick right there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's the first. He was like one of the first people that came to mind. I was like, oh man, what's that guy's name? And I had to look it up because I was like, I remembered the face, and then I was like, the Swamp Thing guy. I know it's the Swamp Thing guy, and we know he looks good in green. So
Great. Kenny says Andy Serkis.
there you go.
Yep. Let's see. Echo, you silly goose. I don't know what's that. Oh, that's a shame. Kenny's laughing at me. Thoughts on the new Wolfman movie from Mayan? Have you guys seen that?
I haven't watched it yet.
I kind of wanted to see it in the theater, but after a couple weeks, I was like, I'll get to it eventually. I heard mixed things, I guess. Yeah. So
I from the trailer, I couldn't buy the family dynamic.
I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, is this his older daughter? But it was his wife.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Like I saw the trailer and I was just like, I don't know. When people were getting hyped about it, I was just like, oh no, it's not gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. And I do like that actress that was in Ozark.
She's fantastic. Yeah,
she was fantastic in Ozark. But nothing about her performance or anything I've seen her in said to me she should be in a Universal Monster movie. I don't know. I love the original Wolfman. That's one of my favorites too. It's such like a magical environment. It's almost like in a fantasy land. James Ralph on Cinemassacres mentioned it. There's carriages, but then there's cars, and it's like, when and where is this taking place? We kind of know, but it's almost like, there's so much fog and everything. And I wish,
he got the telescope that it's like towns down. He can see the lady getting her stuff in the window at a very specific building,
Yeah.
But you know what? It works, man. Like I it was interesting when I had, so I kind of bought all the Blu-rays at once when they were coming out. Um, I think like it was like 1 October, and so like I bought the Creature from the Black Lagoon, I bought the Wolfman, I bought Dracula, and I was just going down the list, and when I was watching it, I did not, for the life of me, remember that they were so short,
Yeah.
and I was just like, man, they fit so much into these films in that runtime, whereas now
Yeah.
it's like these movies are like 2.5, almost 3 hours long, and it's
Yeah.
just like all fluff,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's
You
just
know, they,
it's crazy to me. Like I remember seeing, the Wolfman and on Blu-ray, and I was just like, wow, this looks amazing. And the next thing I know, I was like, okay, let me watch the next one. And
right.
then I look at the
Mhm.
runtime, and I'm like, holy cow, man, this was only like less than an hour and a half.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was like
Yeah.
an hour 10 minutes or something like
Yeah.
that. And I was just like, man, they just cram so much,
Yep.
and it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't feel like it at all. And like rewatching them with my son. Okay, I got to be honest with you. The original Mummy, it took us. I was a little tired. He didn't like love that one. We later watched the Hammer Mummy. He really liked that one, but Dracula was okay. By the time we got to Frankenstein, he really started to get into them. And it ended Bride of Frankenstein. He just looked at me like, "That's it." Like he couldn't believe that it was over. I was like, "That's it." Like pull the lever, boom, done. That's the way they were back then, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's crazy to think like how movies were done back then compared to now, especially nowadays where it's like average movie nowadays has to be almost 2 hours, and then forget about it. If you have a tent pole movie, that's going to be like 2.5, almost 3 hours.
Yeah. Hey, here's an idea. Maybe the guy that should direct the Creature movie is the guy that I don't recall his name. How would you like to see the director of Godzilla -1 give it a shot? Because that was what, $15 million? Somehow they made that movie with $15 million. And
that would make me more like, I'd be more hyped for that.
The attention to detail
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. I was even reading about just the work that they did for the black and white version. They didn't just like press a button and turn it into black and white. They had to go back and meticulously shade things, and there's so much love in that movie. And then you have these movies that premiere on Netflix that you've never heard of that cost like $200 million, and it's like, where did where did the money go? But yeah, this guy, man, that was
that was I feel blessed and lucky that I was able to see it in the theater when it first came out.
I saw it twice.
Yeah, it's like I was just blown away. I was like there, and I was like, man, I got emotional whenever you hear the Godzilla theme at the end, and it's just like it's just like everything you felt for the characters. It's just it's just, I don't know. And then you see Godzilla wrecking shop, and that's like man, that's what I want to see.
Right. Yep. Are you a Godzilla fan, Rachel? And have you seen -1?
I haven't seen -1, but I have to finally watch it because I've seen every Godzilla film, but it sounds even more incredible than what I saw from it. I didn't realize they did a black and white version as well as an in color version. That's so cool. That concept now, I feel like I'm going to be obsessing over why aren't we doing that with all of the Universal Monster remakes. That's incredible.
Right. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, because I saw it by myself. Then I took my sons to see it, and then they brought -1 color back, and I almost went a third time in the theater. But then when this came out, I got the Japanese edition. Kenny's Movie Pals, we both got it. All the special features are in Japanese, but there is a link where you can print everything out in English. And the director goes into the special effects in great detail. So yeah, that was an experience. I'm going to try to hook up. I've actually had it for over a year now. I don't know why I didn't do it last spring and summer, but I've got a projector and a screen for outside. So the reason that I haven't watched The Creature in a little while is that just feels like one I should watch outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to see if I can trick my daughters into watching Godzilla -1. Because I think if they just sit down and watch it, once they get 20 minutes in, you know what I mean? Because of the story.
Yeah,
they're gonna be into it, but they think Godzilla, and they're thinking more of the Godzilla X Kong type movies, or
Yeah.
which I enjoy too.
I did too.
Yeah, they're not. I like those as well. I still haven't seen the latest one, Godzilla X Kong. I need to watch that one. I really did like King of the Monsters, and I really did like Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Zilla. I'm Team Zilla all the way. So it's like,
Oh, yeah.
When you see him just like, I was like, okay, Zilla. I mean, come on, no contest, man. Zilla's gonna win this one.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
That
just
was
seeing him like, and I like the design of this one. I mean, I love the original, the old school
too.
design, but I did like this one, even though people would complain that he's like, oh, he's like chubby and this and that, and I was just like, man, it's like, I don't know, I don't know, I just love, as long as they get the roar right.
Yeah.
Same with the Predator. Like if
Yeah.
they get the roar right, you're like, you already got me like 60 to 70% there. I mean, unlike the Predator, that movie's horrible. But
so Mayan and Alucard want to have a field trip to my backyard. Yeah, we can do that. Sure. Alucard's in Louisiana, but I don't know. Well, he's closer to the lagoon than any of us.
Yeah.
They could do at least, Kenny says they could do at least 4 different stories with -1 because of the back stories, and then they set up the future stories. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really did. They really set it up well. But that was a total treat.
It's a really good one. Rachel, you definitely should check it out. I mean, is it still on Netflix? I think it's still on Netflix, right?
I think it is.
And they have both versions too. They have the minus color one too.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna prioritize it. It's definitely gonna be high on my list. I feel like I'm missing some Godzilla since the last movie came out. I feel like I got so used to having a Godzilla film almost every year, and now
right.
I don't know if we're gonna get another one.
Yeah, I hope we are. I mean, they kind of set it up.
Yeah.
I would think that with how well that this one did, that they would do it. I mean, you think about it, in Japan, they were kind of doing what they had Shin Godzilla before this one. Every couple of years they do. They have the fine. Even when they have like the final. What was the one in the 80s? I don't had the word final in it, but it's not going to be the final. Yeah. It's like the final chapter. Come on.
Yes.
But I would love to, if you do watch it, I would love to see you review it on your channel. That would be really cool.
I appreciate it. I'll definitely take notes when I watch it. I'll remind myself to.
You're definitely gonna want to watch it twice.
Yeah.
It is that good. So like you see it once, just enjoy it, watch it, and then the next one, the second time, then take your notes.
Then do it. All right.
Yeah. Alucard says, I've been to Wakula Springs. Have any of you guys been there?
I have not. It is my top of my priority list of places to travel. I hope I get to go one day, and hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah. And Alucard says, we got the swamps. Yeah, you do. There's it's always good to have movies that are set in lagoons and swamps, filmed in places where they have lagoons or swamps. There was a made for Sci-Fi Channel movie, and some of those were pretty good. They had this Man-Eater series. There was one, it was about some kind of swamp creature. It was, as soon as I saw that it was filmed in Vermont, I was like, what? I mean, it looks like they literally took a hose and made some puddles. I mean, it was terrible. Kenny says, watch the color first and then notice and love the differences between the black and white. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that for sure. But Godzilla +1, man says yes. Well, this has been fantastic. Do you anything to say sort of in closing or that we didn't touch on? I know I'm all over the place.
I mean, you know me, Mr. Dan. I went off tangents here. I do it all the time when I've been on live streams before. So it's like, I mean, honestly, the only thing I can say is just that I am hopeful that they do the creature justice, and they give us something that I hope they give us something, one, that we haven't seen, but also is rooted in the original film. Not necessarily the other two, just the original, like just the original film.
Mhm.
Like there's films where it's like they start giving us too many Easter eggs from like
Yes.
the other films.
Yeah.
I just want something that's just like, okay, it's a contained story for now. Like, don't try to set up any sequel. Just kind of, it's a story on its own. Because I mean, you know, at the end of Creature from the Black Lagoon, you just see him like kind of, you know,
Yeah.
going down, and it's like you don't think anything's gonna happen, and then all of a sudden we have a part two.
Yep.
You know,
That's the way they did it back then, right?
you know, so it's like it's. I want something like that where it's just like it's it can be taken as open ended. It can be taken as like, okay, this is one and done, and that's it. You know. I
Yeah.
feel like nowadays everybody just tries to, oh, we need sequels, we need,
Mhm.
franchises and stuff.
Mhm.
It's just give us a simple film first and then go from there. But
Yeah. Honor the legacy of the original, I guess is what we're trying to say.
my long way around, yes.
Right. So you guys, Larry, you have regular videos. Are you doing your you doing any like live streams on a regular basis now, or?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I don't have anything planned for any live streams. The only thing I got coming up is I will be on Gareth Video Tasties channel. Later on this month, we're going to be doing a watch party on his channel.
Okay.
Beyond that, just normal stuff. I think my next video is going to be a haul video of because I got a bunch of stuff, and I think my last one was in January, I think, or something
Yeah.
like that, or early
Mhm.
February. So I've got a lot of stuff since then. So I want to, share that with everybody, and then have a couple reviews to work on after that.
Oh, cool. And Rachel, you aim for like a creature corner every week. It doesn't always happen because of work. Is that pretty much your schedule right now?
Every Thursday. I just had to miss last week because I had something going on with my dog and I had to take care of him. So, but I'm back tomorrow. I have another video tomorrow morning. And then I am also trying to get some other, I call them monster mail videos where I do some unboxings. And I'm going to try to get some more of those going as well as some more shorts. And yeah, that's just trying to get back into the swing of every week on Thursday.
That's awesome. Great. Yeah. You guys have to check out her channel. So informative. I love all the behind the scenes details. So many cool people were involved in the making of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And I did start that Millicent Patrick audiobook.
Oh, awesome. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I got that from your Amazon affiliate, and
Oh,
I gotta go finish that. It was because obviously she was an unsung hero. I think she's being sung now.
yes, definitely. Finally getting her time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she made such a. I mean, it's. I don't know. For me, The Creature is just beautiful. It's a beautiful, like
it really is.
like,
It
amazing.
really is.
It still holds up till this day. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right? Like,
Mhm.
You
yeah,
think
it
about some of
probably
the
wouldn't
other
look the same.
some of the other directions they went in, and some other films with underwater creatures and everything. And I mean, we've had a slew of underwater horror movies. I reviewed a couple of them a while ago. Deep Rising, Leviathan. And they're all like sort of mixed success as far as the creatures go. But man, she really did come up with something incredible there. Now just I will be on April 22nd, which is I believe a Tuesday. I will be on Talking Movies with Kenny, Sean, and Jim, and we're going to be talking about Jack Nicholson movies. So I'm not a mega Jack Nicholson fan, but come on, it's Jack Nicholson. I've seen a lot of his films. I saw Wolf in the theater way back in the day.
You see that one. I really enjoyed that one. The effects were great. I mean, and it was a good modern telling of the Wolfman.
Yeah, and they wanted to make him look like Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean? Like he was like a human, more human werewolf. But that was good. So I'm gonna try to watch a few early. I've got a Western queued up on Tubi from the early 70s with Nicholson, so I definitely want to watch a few Nicholson movies before then. But so that's pretty much what's on my agenda. And then I've got my martial arts reviews on Mondays. And since I'm slowing down collecting movies this year, I don't have a physical media Friday every Friday. It's like about every other Friday. And then I have odd reviews here and there. And I will probably be getting into some old TV episodes with some collaborators soon on the channel. But yeah, so this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you guys coming on with me. And we'll have to do it again sometime down the road. And I would encourage everyone to check out their channels. And if you guys just stick around for 1 second, I'll end the stream and we'll say our goodbyes. But thanks a lot for coming, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Everybody
Thank you.
chat.
Thanks again.
Mayan says, awesome stream. I think you own half of Tubi. Yes, between Kenny and I, we could be investors in Tubi.